can rip your soul from your seas. Those people lie down with no water to drink. This is a crazy taste of reality, and all love dies. All love breathes, all love dies. All love breathes.
There was a lot up there. I didn't get it. I short lived my own life.
We gotta rise up, oh, we gotta stand up tall. Don't let this world lock you out of your soul. We gotta rise up, oh, we gotta stand up tall. Don't let this world lock you out of your soul. Hey.
I've been in a dark place too.
Open your eyes to the sight, a million blessings disguising their light. The darkness in the world is real. Have right action, stand on your feet. No matter what path we choose, keep on circling the fracture or moon. All one people, stand up in your night. Everything is sacred, everyone is sacred. We gotta rise up, oh, we gotta stand up tall. Don't let this world lock you out of your soul. We gotta rise up, oh, we gotta stand up tall. Don't let this world lock you out. When we look inside, yeah, we see this ember. We know this light inside is our love. When we look inside, yeah, we see this ember. We know this light inside is some child. We're imitating stars that move across the shimmer. We know this light inside is our love. When we look inside and polish the mirror, we know this light inside is our love. When we look inside, yeah, we see this ember. We know this light inside is our love. When we look inside, yeah, we see this ember. We know this light inside is some child. We're imitating stars that move across the shimmer. We know this light inside is our love. When we look inside and polish the mirror, we know this light inside, yeah. We gotta rise up, oh, we gotta stand up tall. Don't let this world lock you out of your soul. We gotta rise up, oh, we gotta stand up tall. Don't let this world lock you out. We gotta rise up, oh, we gotta stand up tall. Don't let this world lock you out of your soul. We gotta rise up, oh, we gotta stand up tall. Don't let this world lock you out. Don't let this world lock you out. Don't let this world lock you out.
I'm glad you guys are here with this money. I am.
Of your heart.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a once in a lullaby. Dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops way above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, over the rainbow. Why can't אוויר הרים צלול כיין וריח אורנים ניסע ברוח 40 עם כל פעמונים ופתר דמת אילן ואבן שבויה בחלומה העיר אשר בדד יושבת ובליבה חומה חזרנו אל עוד המים שעיר בנייך אומר אחרון המשוררים, כי שמך צורף את השפתיים כנשיקת שרף. אם אשכחך ירושלים השכולה זהב, ירושלים של זהב, של נחושת ושל אור, הלא רחוב שירייך אני, כי אור ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, הלא רחוב שירייך אני, כי
And hello, friends, and welcome to the Jewish Culture and Holocaust Remembrance Group. And we're talking and having our program today called Stand Up to Jewish Hate. And I'm so happy to see all of you, and our friends have returned. And we're going to get started with a presentation by Jan Landau. Jan is the co-founder of the Butterfly Project in San Diego, and I'm also proud to announce Jan was recently or just about to be honored for as a Woman of Valor in San Diego. So congratulations, Jan. And we're going to start the program with a brief video, which will become obvious, and then we'll turn it over to Jan to kind of create a little bridge on why I chose this video today.
The last, the very last, so richly, brightly, dazzlingly yellow. Perhaps if the sun's tears would sing against a white stone. Such a yellow is carried lightly way up high. It went away, I'm sure, because it wished to kiss the world goodbye. For 7 weeks, I've lived in here, penned up inside this ghetto, but I have found my people here. The dandelions call to me, and the white chestnut candles in the court. Only I never saw another butterfly. That butterfly was the last one. Butterflies don't live in here, in the ghetto.
Okay, and we're back. And Jan, please, I'm going to allow you to take the screen and take over the program. Take it away.
Yep. Thank you. Well, the poem that you just heard was the inspiration for the Butterfly Project. And let me see if I can get up it was there a minute ago. Jeffrey, do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, but try to
Okay.
close it out and start again. So close
Okay.
your screen share.
Stop screen sharing.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
just screen share again.
Okay. I saw it there. Here it is. Here we go. So the poem that you just heard was the inspiration for the Butterfly Project. And I just want to take a moment and introduce also Judy Gottschalk is here. She is on the education team for the Butterfly Project. So Judy, be sure and chime in if I forget something important. In addition to the inspiration being that poem, it was also, you'll hear later, hopefully from Linda Hooper with the Paperclips project. And that certainly was, I had the opportunity in 2005 to visit or to see the Paperclips documentary, and that also was the inspiration for the Butterfly Project. So here you see the early days of the Butterfly Project. It was called Zikaron V'Tikva in the beginning, which in Hebrew means remembrance and hope. And this is a picture of my co-founder here in the left-hand corner, Cheryl Ratner Price, who's the artist behind the project. Initially, I, as a teacher, thinking about what I could do at the San Diego Jewish Academy where I was working to remind children of what happened during the Holocaust, but yet have them be hopeful that if we treat others with respect and kindness, that the world will be a different place for everyone, a better place. I thought about how I would represent the children that perished during the Holocaust. And again, the poem was the inspiration to have a butterfly represent that. But my interpretation of how children would make those butterflies was very different from our artist, Cheryl Ratner Price. Fortunately, she was the one who came up with the idea of a ceramic butterfly, which was long lasting. We engaged a lot of our Holocaust survivors in the program. We found that that was the most impactful way of talking about the Holocaust to children, was to hear their stories and know that so many of them had such amazing lessons to be learned. One of them, most importantly, was their hope and their gratitude for their lives. And we wanted to impart that into children's minds, that they should be hopeful and persevere during difficult times. We'll have more of that in a minute. And unfortunately, when I look at these pictures, it's very sad because many of the survivors you see in this picture are no longer with us. So this is the tree of life that was created at San Diego Jewish Academy. In the root of that tree are paper clips, because that was the root, one of the roots of the idea for the project. I'm very grateful to Linda Hooper for doing what she did in Whitwell, Tennessee. So the Butterfly Project is a call to action through education, the arts, and memorial making. We teach social justice through lessons of the Holocaust, educating all about the dangers of hatred and bigotry, to cultivate empathy and social responsibility. By painting ceramic butterflies, which are permanently displayed as symbols of resilience and hope, participants remember the 1.5 million children killed in the Holocaust. In this work, the Butterfly Project honors our commitment to the survivors to never forget. Each ceramic butterfly painted, as we said, represents one of the 1.5 million children who were killed in the Holocaust. And if you see in the left-hand corner, it's not just painting the butterfly, It's also, there is a biography card where the child who's painting or the person who's participating in the project reads about a specific child who lost their lives during the Holocaust. In addition to this, all of us and the ed team and the Butterfly Project, we go into schools and we give the students a background about the Holocaust. So it's an educational approach and it's not just an art project. So we create butterfly memorials in public spaces as lasting reminders about the dangers of hatred and bigotry. The butterfly symbolizes transformation, hope, and resilience to make a better world. The Butterfly Project's butterflies are being painted and displayed all around the world with the goal of creating 1.5 million, one for each child. We are currently in 49 of the 50 United States and in 24 different countries. Here's an example of a biography card, and I'm going to have Jeffrey talk about one that's very important to him in just a minute.
Well, there's a tremendous story about the bio card. My Aunt Magda, who was only 8, and she was in the cattle car with her family being deported from Košice in Czechoslovakia. And when I first heard about the Butterfly Project is when I moved to San Diego in 2019, actually. And their first presentation, I'm honored that both Jan and Linda are presenting again. This is the 3rd annual presentation of the Butterfly Project. I am just so emotive about this project. And I wanted to create a bio card for my aunt, Magda. And so I created a bio card with a colleague of Jan's, Beth, who manages the biography project for the Butterfly Project. And a few weeks later, Beth called me and said, "Jeff, why do I have 2 biograph cards for Magda?" And I said, "What are you talking about, 2? But I did one. Why would you have another?" And she didn't understand why there were 2. And after some further research by Beth, it turned out that when she first started this biographical cards program, she went to Yad Vashem, looked up children, and just by mere coincidence, she found a registration which was done by my aunt Handy in Argentina for Magda, and picked that information and made her own bio card. So it was one of the original bio cards. And it really, every time I see Magda's picture on the bio card, it really is it really connects me to this, the Butterfly Project. And I hope, Jan, you'll also mention your digital work and the work of your team and how you can actually go and present this anywhere in the world now, and you have. So people who are here from all around the world can bring your project to them through Zoom and through your digital programs. And I know you talk more about that later.
Yes, thank you. Let's see.
Our responsibility as children of survivors is to go into the classrooms and teach children the lessons of the Holocaust, which are appropriate for all children. The goal of the Butterfly Project is to create 1.5 million ceramic butterflies and have them be installed on the walls of schools and churches and synagogues and mosques all over the world to honor those children that lost their lives in the Holocaust and to honor the survivors.
Butterfly Project is a nonprofit organization in San Diego run by all retired educators whose parents were survivors of the Holocaust, and they have extraordinary stories to tell.
We try to talk to kids, let them know that things can get better, that you can have hope that things will still be good for you.
And the only way we can prevent something so horrific as the Holocaust from happening again is for all of us to become upstanders.
If we can connect with one or two kids, we've done something right. And that's very important to us.
Human greatness does not lie in wealth or power, but in character and goodness and faith.
Remember the past, act responsibly in the present to create a better future.
This is just some photos of our team working. There's Arlene Keyes and Sonia Fox Albaum, who has her father's uniform, which is just when we are in a classroom and show this to the kids and she has them touch it, it's an absolutely awesome experience for them. And it is for us, no matter how many times we are in the classroom, and just seeing the kids' reactions to actually seeing a uniform and seeing a star it's been amazing. So these are the lessons that we emphasize in the classroom to the students. These are the lessons that we've learned from Holocaust survivors: the necessity of perseverance and resilience, the power of hope, the dangers of hatred, bigotry, bullying, prejudice, and indifference, the profound impact of upstanders for justice, and the importance of gratitude. Well, this topic that we're talking about, the Holocaust, is extremely sad. We want to leave the kids with hope, that if they learn these lessons, that as they face obstacles in their own lives today, they can persevere. They can have a good life, just like the survivors who came to the United States after the war, fortunately did have a good life here. So the lessons we bring to schools, we have literature-based lessons for all grades. We have a lesson on anti-bullying, elements of the Holocaust, and basic Holocaust lesson are for kids that are probably in 4th and 5th grades. The Holocaust Why is for usually 6th grade through 7th. It depends. I speak to each of the teachers that were presenting in their classrooms, and we ask them what the background of their students are. And then we go from there and to determine which of these lessons is appropriate. One of my favorite lessons is Through Their Eyes, and that's usually for 8th grade and above through high school. It's an identity lesson where we have quotes from teenagers that are experiencing the Holocaust, and it really creates a compassion and identity in the students who are the same ages to hear the stories and to realize how lucky they are that they didn't live through this time, and what they can do now in terms of social justice to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again to anyone. These are some examples of some installations that we have here in San Diego. So they range from very, very simple to more complex. The most important thing is that they're put up on the walls so that they're a lasting remembrance of what the students have been taught. We do have a movie that my co-founder Cheryl actually created. It's called Not the Last Butterfly, and it was filmed a great deal, filmed in Poland. And it won so many of these awards, which we're very proud of. And here is a little clip.
Way Holocaust education was delivered to me was just awful.
We want the kids to remember, but we wanted them to feel hopeful.
Initiated by the San Diego Jewish Academy in 2006, the project aims to create 1.5 million painted ceramic butterflies in memory of the 1.5 million youth who perished in the Holocaust.
Holocaust survivors working with children.
We had to wear Jewish stars. When we saw the cattle cars, we realized we are being shipped to a concentration camp.
And somebody's calling out my name. Then he said, stay alive so you can tell the world what they're doing to us.
And I was 11 years old when I was taken to the concentration camp. So many of my friends, they're not with us. They were Jewish. This was the only reason that they were murdered.
Inspired by an artist.
Friedel Brandes helped us to survive.
Friedel used art for good, to give the children hope, to cope with this shock and the fear.
What began in a school.
Would you want to wear something like this?
Right?
It's not just a Jewish project.
Inspired people across America.
And I mean, this is like one of the best parts of our lives is when a box comes in.
And around the world.
That we're able to do this down the road from Auschwitz. There's an important message there.
Butterflies are flying in.
They're reframing a tragedy to make the world a better place.
I've learned that if I don't do anything, then nothing will change.
The Butterfly Project gives a voice back to the anonymous child.
This is a lesson for life.
Now how do I get out of here?
There, just stop it. You see that?
There we go. There we go. And again, more displays. The one on the left is in Spanish, and we were in the Guatemala, as you can see, the Guatemala Holocaust Museum. Here's our team. And we do teacher trainings as well and work with Facing History. And here is Magda, Jeffrey's family.
Yeah, and that's the only picture we have of Magda.
And these are the cards that the students take home with them. The butterflies that they create, of course, are going on to a permanent installation at their schools, but the cards go home, and the students have told us a number of times how they had talked to their parents about what the Butterfly Project means and share with the student, with the child that they're painting in memory of. We always tell them that they are the voice now for that child. This is what the kit, the Butterfly Project kit looks like. 36 ceramic butterflies, the bio cards that go with them, and all they need to do the painting of their butterflies. And then they have to be fired in a kiln and returned to the schools for their display. Let's see why this is not going. I think that's it. Judy, do you have something you want to add? Unmute.
And I want to welcome Judy Gottschalk as a true friend, also from San Diego. And thank you for coming to be with us and support the program today, Judy.
Thank you. Thank you. There's a lot of busy Holocaust stuff going on in San Diego today. I just, I'm very honored to be part of this project. you know, I think most all of the team, Sonia, Arlene, Jan, and myself, you know, we are compelled to do this work. We, you know, it's almost like we have our parents sitting on our shoulder, screaming a little bit in our ear in a nice way, but just saying never again, tell the story, talk about being upstanders, talk about when you see injustice, do something about it. And I think all of our parents would be so happy. You know, COVID was hard. We did it online. We were busy on Zoom, but recently we've started going back into the classrooms and seeing the children and their body language and how they react. It has been so satisfying for all of us. And we hope the learning for them is so much richer.
Now, I wanted to, before we, Jan has to go, and so does Judy. They're launching a brand new Holocaust Museum exhibit. And perhaps, Jan, you can quickly just share with the group what it is in San Diego.
Yeah, we're very excited because this is the first time that San Diego has been supported by the city of San Diego with a Holocaust exhibit. And it's as Jeff said, the grand opening is today. And so we're off to that. Our San Diego generations of the Shoah has been very instrumental in having this exhibit as well. And so we're part of that group and want to be there to celebrate this amazing occurrence. It's given to us for 1 year, and we're hoping that this will be impetus to actually have a Holocaust museum here in San Diego, which we are sorely lacking. And just to address Ruth, you know, Ruth, I don't know why I said lost. We always say murdered and killed in the Holocaust. I don't know why I said that, but that to reassure you, we absolutely do. We do say that the children were killed and are murdered in the Holocaust.
Sometimes we say perished, not sure. But also, if you notice on the bio cards, it says very specifically was murdered.
Well, I want to thank you, and I want to let everyone know that Jan put her email address in the chat. If you are interested in bringing and sponsoring the Butterfly Project to come to an institution, not just schools, they also do adult education, they also do churches, they do educating anybody who has an interest in learning about the Holocaust anywhere in the world, since their programs are now all digitized and can be done on Zoom. So if you're interested in sponsoring them, Jan is available on her email. Also, I know if you're interested in a bio card, Jan will be happy to direct you to the right resources within the Butterfly Project for you to be able to sponsor your own Butterfly Project, like Butterfly bio card, like I did for Magda. So I want to thank you both for coming. You're so dear to my heart, and the project is also dear to my heart. So thank you. We won't have you for chat, but we will keep you in mind. And if anybody wants to reach out to both Jan and Judy, and I don't know if Judy, you want to put your email address in chat as well, they're more than welcome to talk to you. So thank you
so much. Thank you, everyone who is here and listening to what our project does. And thanks for your flexibility. And so sorry we have to leave early.
Okay, take care. And you can
Thank you all.
You can stop your screen share. That would be great.
Yeah.
Okay, which I think you have already.
I did. Yeah.
All right.
Well, now I'm back.
Yep. Here, there you go. So I'm going to continue the program, and I want to kind of tell you a little bit ahead of what I'm about to do. I found some very interesting video. I'm not going to give it away, but I think we'll talk about it. There's several clips that I want to present throughout the remaining part of the program. I also got a message from Linda Hooper, who's having difficulty this morning personally. So she said she'll try to make it, but we may not see her. So I want to kind of let everyone know I'm disappointed, but I understand family comes first. So I'm going to do my screen share, and we'll take it from there. Hold on a second, sorry.
Dark as shame, darling, dark as shame. Thank you for all the joy and pain. Picture show, second balcony was the place we'd meet. Second seat, go Dutch Street, you were right. Dark as shame, darling, dark as shame. Thank you for seeing me again.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome, Renee. Haven't seen you for a while. I'm glad you're finally here. Thank you. And now I have the honor and the pleasure of introducing you to Deb Filler.
Shalom Aleichem. My name is Deb Filler, and my father was a survivor of the Holocaust in the Shoah, and Dad always felt isolated being in New Zealand. So one of the things that he used to do was turn on TV and he'd say, "That's Barbara Eden, she's Jewish." And that's Captain Spock, the guy with the pointy ears, he's Jewish. And that's Cat Stevens, he's Jewish. I'd say, "Dad, Cat Stevens, what are you talking about? He's not Jewish." He says, "Yeah, sure, he's Jewish. His name was probably Stephen Katz, and he switched it." Anyway, see, my father, he would always like to train everything into Yiddish, right? So, what about, no Mädel, no Quetsch. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna do that. Gerhard, you said you saw it in the camps. My father saw it too, that there was a possibility in the camp to make a joke or a sketch or a laugh. Is it possible that it's...
There were people that were naturally humorous, the way they behaved. Like when the SS came, the capo carried on, you should have heard him. Like the next minute he's going to murder us all. And when the SS left, go ahead, he said, do what you want. We were laughing. We were all miserable. But without humor, I don't think we would have survived.
Sorry, I didn't find any humor at all. Just sadness and tragedy.
I don't know what's funny about anything in the Holocaust. I was a child survivor, so I didn't suffer like some of the older people here. It's hard for me to understand that they could see the humor in the Holocaust. What do you mean afterwards? There were funny incidents after that. I can tell you a whole bunch of those. But during the time that you were deprived of a normal human life, boy, I can't even imagine that.
Cantare, oh, volare, oh, cantare, oh.
Did you enjoy that? I like to hear the song, but I could not enjoy it. Why not? With an Italian singing a beautiful song. Because I remember for so many youngsters who were perished and they can't enjoy this beautiful place.
But you know, you survived, you're alive. How can you not have pleasure out of the fact that you survived?
Always I remember the children screaming, the selection. You know, that is like an our shadow. You cannot forget, and you cannot enjoy.
You cannot live in the shadow of those cries. You have to remember it, but you cannot live in those shadows. I don't live in the shadow, but the shadow is following me all my life. You know, I speak about the Holocaust all the time, but I enjoy life. I am so happy that I have 3 great-grandchildren. Could Hitler imagine that I will survive and have 3 great-grandchildren? I mean, that's my revenge.
And so I want to welcome to the program Jeffrey Demsky. And Jeffrey is a professor at St. Bernard Valley College, and he has a tremendously interesting presentation and lecture to provide us. So I'm going to allow Jeffrey to introduce himself and then proceed with his lecture. And you can start your screen share whenever you need to.
Thanks, Jeff. Good morning. Just wanted to say at the outset that I expressed concern to Jeff a few months ago that my presentation would not complement the program. And in fact, it works in the opposite direction and may not be something that the listeners wanted to hear. And Jeff said, go ahead with it. So I still have, after listening to Jan's wonderful presentation, and I'm familiar with some of their work, I still don't think my presentation is appropriate for this audience. But nonetheless, I'm here and I'll go ahead with it if you'd like. Kids nowadays use the word triggering. It is what you think it is. It's something that causes a reaction. For chemists in the audience, of course, catalyst, trigger. In the social science terms, currently, just about every language is, in fact, Ruth was triggered earlier, and appropriately so, for Ruth's lived truth. But the slides I'm going to share with you right now, I mean, Jeff, I mean, would you want to chime in here? Do you want to, I mean, I was looking, they're going to be gone by slide 3. They don't want to see any of this.
Yes, they do. And I think at the totality of what you're about to share needs to be seen and needs to be educated. We have a very educated audience, but but let me tell you, this is recorded and literally hundreds, if not thousands of people, non-Jews, will see your presentation. So all of us in the audience must remember that this is a broader, and we're here all to push back against anti-Semitism and to understand anti-Semitism, though we live anti-Semitism, each of us every day. We have a broader mission, and this program is designed to push back against global anti-Semitism. So please, Jeff, don't worry. You have a very nurturing audience. They all understand your reticence, but please go ahead.
All right. Well, I'd like to begin just by stating that I'm a tenured college professor. I'm an academic. I publish the clip Jeff just showed. I wrote the review for that book for the Holocaust Museum. This is something that I do. But again, I'm an academic. I'm used to speaking to academic audiences. And the things I'm showing are, again, they're pop culture. They're plebeian. They're from the current culture. But I'm anti-Semitism is a brand. That's how I look at anti-Semitism in a marketing sense. It's a brand, and it has a very loyal and very repeat consumer base. And it's a global consumer base, of course, and it's a multi-stream. Christian anti-Semitism is not the same as Muslim anti-Semitism, though they do share some similar core themes. And any brand, to be successful, has to reinvent itself. You remember New Coke? There's many examples of rebranding, and then that gets me to where my specific research is. I look at memes, logos. So current internet visual logos that convey core anti-Semitic smears. So Jews are cheap. Jews like money. You see that from Shylock on, or Jews are disloyal, Jews are disruptive, Jews profit from war. Jews profit from all sorts of global chaos. Jews run the world, of course, a cabal of Jews. You know, these are all very commonly shared. Call them transactional, if you'd like. I mean, anti-Semite from over here meets anti-Semite from over there. They'll find some commonality on those slurs. So, in its modern sense, the modern logo for anti-Semitism is Happy Merchant. That's Happy Merchant. Happy Merchant is the current visual. About 2000 he came out. You know, the so-called Jewish nose. He is wearing a kippah. His hands are clutched. He looks, you know, covetous. You know, it's based off the Shylock, as I mentioned. That's from the Folger Shakespeare Library in Washington, D.C. Of course, the Merchant of Venice. In any event, it's the same basic visual. The Nazis had a similar visual of it. Here it is again. A meme, by definition, is an image that replicates over and over again in different ways. So here's Happy Merchant, and I'll refer to him as Happy. And Happy is the brand logo that's going to connect all my slides. And just to give you an upfront, sorry, let me come off the screen share for a second. Just to give you an upfront, I'm going to do a number of slides on Jews causing 9/11, Israel causing 9/11. Jews and Israel are not identical, but they get conflated in this space. And then we'll switch to Jews causing COVID. And the one through line on all of that will be it's Happy Merchant, because Happy Merchant is the most recognizable visual of modern day anti-Semitism, at least on the internet. So he's going to be the through line. You're going to see a lot of Happy Merchant here. So first it'll be Happy Merchant and 9/11, and then it'll be Happy Merchant. And there are lots of other cartoons as well, but just wanted to be clear about that. You're going to be seeing a lot of Happy because again, memes replicate themselves. So Happy, here he is, happy about the gold. Here's Happy's eyes bugging out as $100 bills. You know, again, a meme is not, they're always a little bit different. That's what a meme is. It's a mutation. It's a derivation. It's a slice off. So, you know, but you get the point. There's Happy. There's the elongated nose turned into a vacuum cleaner to better suck in money and gold. There's Happy again. The clock has been every numeral has been replaced with an annotation of some sort of money market. You know, the dollar bill, the Borsen, the etc. And you can read. Sometimes memes have captions and sometimes they don't. There's no set rule on that, but I mean the message is clear. You know, Jews going to exploit the Christians. Interestingly, Happy and this is true as well when we look at bigotry, and this is something that does connect into something that Jan mentioned. The kind of the cross-sectionality of bigotry you can apply. You know, Jews are not the only allegedly cheap people in the world. I mean, and you see this with Happy, and you see this on the internet. So you'll see the Happy logo, which does connote Jews specifically. You'll see it reappropriated to also connote non-Jews who are considered to be cheap. So again, here is a Happy Merchant reconfigured perhaps as an Arab merchant. Here's Happy Merchant reconfigured as a perhaps Muslim or Sheikh merchant. Here's Happy Merchant reconfigured as an Oriental or Asian merchant. So the basic idea is still, the through line is someone who's exploiting Christians, white Christians, as that term is loosely applied in modern day political and social discourse. So let's just get more now into the specifics that I was discussing before 9/11. So Happy comes out in 2000. It's fortuitous for the bigots that Happy really becomes prevalent on internet sites in 2000. And by 2001, there it is. So I'll deconstruct the cartoon. You'll be seeing it a bunch. Again, Happy's right here in the middle, Star of David on his belt, and he's stepping on the detonator that's going to take down World Towers 1, 2, and also 7. There's a menagerie of people here. I'll be coming back to them. This fellow here I've pointed over, and that's Larry Silverstein, the Israeli Israeli-American billionaire who owned the towers. And immediately the anti-Semitism, the turn of the narrative is, of course, that Jews did 9/11 in order to obtain insurance money. And so there's a meme, there's a classic meme, Silverstein's face is superimposed behind the towers, the Israeli flag. There is, in this case, a captioning. And as you can read, this theory goes to the heart of the myth of the greedy Jew. There's Silverstein as happy merchant. So again, that is a definition of a meme. You have another replication of the original image. And this is the part, Jeff, more than the images, I'm more concerned. Listen, folks, I mean, stereotype is, they're not based in fantasy. Stereotypes for whatever culture, whatever, there are aspects of truth. The fisherman, the fish was this big. It wasn't this big, right? But the fisherman did go fishing. There was some truth to the, or there was some perception of truth. There was a plausibility to the judgment. I don't think people wake up and say, I want to be anti-Semitic. I want to hate Jews. I want to hate Arabs. I think there has to be some sort of stepping stone that brings people to that sort of commitment in their lifestyles. And in this case, so we're going to see a conflation. And we're going to see this throughout my slides. And this is what I think is going to make people uncomfortable. Not necessarily the images. You're all adults. You know what these images are. But the analysis. And I'm going to give it to you as unvarnished as I can. And again, I publish. I have books. I have articles. I have peers who either agree or disagree. And I'm open to that. But my feeling was that on a Sunday morning, at least where I am, this was a tough fit. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I wanted to let you know, Jeff, this program was entitled Stand Up for Jewish Hate. And everyone who is here understood the context of the title. And to make you even more comfortable, if we haven't lost any members in the audience yet, since you've—
Yeah, I was checking that too.
I was trying to discourage you from not worrying about it. Yeah. But anybody who is uncomfortable with what you're about to show can change the channel, which means they can leave Zoom. So please just relax and go.
I'm relaxed. It's just you have a hard time saying that to Holocaust survivors when you're talking about, at least I have a hard time. In any event, so the whole thing is that Silverstein and the Jews are in it for the insurance money, but you know, here's the New York Times, and it was the largest payout ever to Larry Silverstein. He did go. Now, what? By the way, I want to be clear. In 2007 here, you remember Elliot Spitzer, right? This was before the scandal. I want to be clear here. What business owner is not going to recoup their losses? That's a low blow, I think. Of course, you're going to go get your insurance money, but it's the next one. It's the next slide. It's the next slide from the same periodical, the New York Times, because excuse me, it's the Journal. He also sued the airlines, and he lost that one. He sought billions from the airlines for, you know, whatever it is he sought. There's the rub. Okay. There's this, there's that. You know, definitely get your money back for the buildings, but the anti-Semite is going to look at this. Now, the anti-Semite may or may not be reading the Journal, but there is that there's this instinct about turning misfortune into some sort of profit, speaks to the very kernel of anti-Semitism, and that has not been erased, folks. That's still very much alive and well. Another theory, quickly, of course, we'll just be going through these. Israel was responsible for 9/11, and in fact, 4,000 Israelis were told to stay home. That got very quick traction online. You see here a tweet about it. And by the way, I know you're not going to read it, but the return tweet says the Israelis may have stayed home to short American Airlines on the stock market because those are the planes. In any event, here's where you see this entering the popular ethos. I mean, this is not a photoshopped photo. This is a verified show. Why is this guy, this American guy, why is he standing around with that? Well, why is this anti-Semite juiced into that anti-Semitic kernel? This guy here doesn't go on the internet and watch Happy Merchant, but his kid does. By the way, the State Department had to even weigh in on this, the so-called 4,000 Jews rumor. The claim is totally false, as you see on the bottom, but that doesn't necessarily discourage its replication, its mutation. And in fact, that's what you begin to see. So it's not just simply that the Israeli government, it was Mossad, and it was Mossad agents, and this is again where truth and fiction get very complicated, and they only get complicated, and this is really important, they only get complicated for the thinking person. Jeff, at this point, may I go on a little long? You're missing your third person. Do you mind, or I'm gonna have to tailor this?
You can take some more time as whatever you want.
All right, thank you, because if the third person, let me know, but I'm gonna either tailor this or go on. Folks, this again is where it gets complicated because this idea of the so-called dancing Israelis. You see it on the bottom right there. This is taken from the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. It's right in the middle of the campus. I'm a University of Florida graduate, which is that's dancing Israelis there on the bottom. Dancing Israelis, and here you see some photos. The dancing Israelis again reference something true. There were 5 young Israelis who were arrested on September 11th. And they were arrested because their neighbors noticed that they were over in Jersey City dancing around and taking pictures, the pictures you're seeing here, and seemed very happy. And one of the pictures showed an Israeli holding a lighted lighter with the wreckage in the background. And there it is. You can see the lighter in his hand. This is the strike off, so it's not in color, but please take my word for it. This is from the reel. And these became the dancing Israelis meme. And by the way, it wasn't only the Jews who were allegedly dancing. You might recall former President Trump was very certain that he saw Muslims dancing in Jersey City. And he's not going to take that back either. But this idea that Semitics and that people in the Middle East were very happy about 9/11 and that Jews were definitely somehow involved with this, that just took off in meme culture. And this is where it gets really, folks, lock in now, because here's where it starts. So the idea that the Jews, again, working, this is the idea that Paul Wolfowitz, there he is, he's the Undersecretary of Defense at that point. Jews in the Bush administration helped Mossad in order to push the American war engine into the Middle East, to seize the oil, to bolster Israel. This is the idea that there was just plotting. Again, this is the elders of the state, the Jewish elders' idea that there's this cabal of well-placed Jews controlling world events to start war. That's World War I. That's World War II. Here we are again. It's the same idea that Jews are plotting. And in this case, it's Jews in the American government plotting with the Israeli government. And this is where it gets ugly because Bibi can't shut his mouth. And anybody who knows Bibi Netanyahu knows what I'm talking about. And it's nothing against Bibi. It's on and on for so long. By the way, there's Paul Wolfowitz shown right above Happy Merchant from that original. I showed you Silverstein. There's Wolfowitz. Listen, Bibi said the same exact thing. 2008, 9/11 was good for Israel. He said it at Bar Ilan, and it immediately led to cartoons in Israeli newspapers. This is from Haaretz. That's Bibi flying 9/11 into the towers. Okay, that's an Israeli cartoon, which did elicit a lot of pushback in Israel, but Haaretz it stuck by it. This idea that Jews and Israel, that it's all in it to seize the Middle East, to upend the Middle East, to hurt Arabs, that shows up very heavily in Arab cartoons. A periodical from the United Arab Emirate. You see Israel is climbing the ladder of opportunity. That is September 11th. Again, from the United Arab Emirates, Uncle Sam takes off of his patriotic top hat, and it's a kippah. The idea is that the Zionist Jews, the American Zionists, they're all in it together. This is the last. I want to be clear. I'm going to come off. This is the last political cartoon that the New York Times ever ran. The one I'm showing you right now. It was such a firestorm. There hasn't been another political cartoon in the New York Times since this one, and you might be able to see why. It shows Bibi Netanyahu as the dog leading a blind and obedient Donald Trump into the Middle East. It's from this was the last one. But this idea is still, it's a clear idea that somehow Jews are steering the United States into troubles in the Middle East. That takes its most relevant idea in the meme of Let American Bear. Let American Bear is a Finnish meme, and when Let American Bear was originally created, nothing to do with anti-Semitism at all. However, it had to do with American obesity. It had to do with American poor dietary choices, lack of exercise. It was, again, a Finnish meme, kind of just mocking the fat American idea. I want a hamburger. Where are the burgers at? That's a smiley face on this bottom part. Where are my burgers? Want my burgers. Again, this is a completely sophomoric, innocuous, funny meme. Has nothing. It's just a little jab at old American diet. Again, are you a burger? However, what happens to Let American Bear is captured. This happens on internet memes a lot. A meme that's created for X is captured by another meme that changes the meaning of the original meme. And so Let American Bear, unfortunately, for him is captured by Happy Merchant. The internet trolls got him. And at this point, now you see this can be used to convey the message that Jews control America, right? That's how it works. Happy Merchant has figured out a way to scheme, to control, to get America to do what it wants with the fishing hook and the hamburger. And that's the result. The Jews lead the United States into the Middle East. You see the oil derricks back here. It says Allah Allah Akbar as the cities are exploding. And now it is, the messaging is pretty clear here. Here's Happy Merchant again, baiting to give money to Israel. Memes aren't complicated. Again, baiting the United States to go to Iran. This again reinforces the broader idea that Israel and the United States were somehow in on the towers. It was all a thing. Quickly moving through now to COVID, the idea that COVID was a Jewish creation intended to upend the world and profit Jews through chaos, etc. Basic anti-Semitic theme. So again, the Jew flu, you see Happy. Here's a fun one as far as looking at the imaging. So this one slurs Chinese people by, suggesting that they caused the koof there. And Uncle Sam says, what a crisis. How can I respond to this? And of course, the crisis gets worse, and Sam ponders it more, and it's not a surprising answer. He's going to have to give the Jews $1.5 trillion. Because again, the Jews created the virus. They're going to profit for the virus. The date here, March 20, that's about when the global shutdowns were starting. Again, Happy Merchant used to convey the idea that the crisis, the pandemic was actually a Jewish ploy to steal from Christians. Very, very basic anti-Semitic plot. Again, Happy Merchant clasping at a coronavirus shot. Interestingly, the Middle East, Middle Eastern nations took a different view. This is from the Iranian Corona cartoon contest, and you see it's actually Uncle Sam here conspiring with the germ dancing on an Israeli to kind of project it onto the world. The protagonists in this case are the Iranian medical staff. This one's a little bit nuanced. This one's not too nuanced. Clearly, the USA sent the coronavirus to Iran and China from a smirking Donald Trump. Very much alive, folks. These ones right now, for people who are watching in Israel, etc. If you're not familiar with the Gaza 48, then I thank you for holding on and holding in. Here's some learning for you. The Gaza 48 conflates pandemic COVID-19 alleged Jewish orchestrated conspiracy with the takeover of the foundation of Israel in 1948. So here the Palestinian is fighting off the the Jewish COVID virus on the one hand, and then the Palestinians they're identified there, the Palestinian flag. COVID 48 is the idea that the state of Israel has been a plague on the Palestinians as well for quite some time. Here it is again. It's not really hard to see how Israel is the COVID tank, hashtag COVID 48, killing the Palestinians. Again, COVID 48. So again, conflating COVID 19, which is an alleged Jewish creation, Soros or what have you, with the foundation of Israel. Again, this one's quite simple. The Israeli plane dropping COVID onto the Palestinians. Here's a Palestinian woman. You see her, she's being forced into a COVID field.
In this article.
All righty. At this point, Jeff, I could go on, but I'm at my time limit. So I think if it's fine with you, I would just stop. But that's really
that's fine. And I appreciate you. And I want to let everyone know that when I first was introduced to Jeffrey, I heard his lecture, and it was quite stunning to me. I knew some of what Jeffrey was talking about, but I wanted to share what is sort of underneath the manhole covers, which are now popping out. And I think it was important for you to be able to all benefit from what Jeffrey has brought to the table. You'll stick around for Q&A, and I'm sure this group will have some questions for you. I'm going to continue the program here. Sorry.
situation was. I was deported with a big amount of my family, my mother, my father, an uncle, and a sister with her husband and 2 kids. They all went to the gas chambers. Out of 13 of my immediate family, I'm the only one who came back. For the 10 minutes that I work or 15 minutes that I sang, they forgot what they were, and that was the most important thing. And that's what made me being alive. Now, the first camp, when we entertained the SS, they didn't come. We only entertained for the inmate. But the second camp, why the SS came to see us, all I can deduct then is like they had such a terrible life hitting us and killing us that they wanted to be entertained too.
Jeder schimpft heut auf Berlin, alle aber loben Wien.
The camps, in certain cases, had a cabaret. But they would never put on anything that mentioned gas chambers or the mass murder squads. It was subversive by nature, but you had to be very careful how you did it. So the SS guards who came would not understand that they were the ones who were being spoken about. It's the kind of humor that'll make you cry. Really, the underpinning is sadness.
I was in the cabaret, and it was very funny, very witty. Of course, people were laughing. People were laughing and talking about it next morning, and how did you like so-and-so? Of course, we imagine that we live in a normal time. There was a song which we have adopted as our anthem. It went something like, let's join hands, we shall overcome. When the tyranny ends, we shall all dance on the ruins of Terezin. Well, sadly, very few would have been able to do so.
Všechno jde, když se chce, za ruce se vezmeme, navzdor kruté době humor v srdci máme. Den co den, stále jen, sem a tam se stěhujem, a na troskách geta budeme se smát.
What did you do all morning?
What did I do all morning? I don't know. I just stuck my head off.
You did? Did you talk about how funny the camp was?
Oh, God, yes. I said, it was hilarious. From the moment we put our feet in the camp, we were laughing. We never stopped laughing. We woke up in the morning at 3, even when they make us walk, even when they make us walk in the middle of the night, we laughed to say, ha, 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 you'll get you there. Ha, ha, ha.
Let's talk about the television show you used to do.
What television show?
About the concentration camp.
What concentration camp?
Who walked into a producer's office and said, here's the idea, a group of soldiers in a Nazi prison camp. It's a comedy.
Do you think that Hogan Zero was about a concentration camp?
It was about a camp.
And there were no Jews in the... I didn't play a Jewish kid.
No, there were no Jews in it, but there were Nazis in it.
The soup.
Thank you.
Hogan Zero was about prisoner of war in a stalag. It was not about genocide. It was not Jews going to the gas chambers.
We knew that.
No, but a lot of people...
That's why it was so funny.
Yeah, I know, but they always ask me, how could you have done Hogan Zeroes after what you went through?
How did it end?
We all died. Now, when you're gonna die, you're gonna be in a Jewish cemetery. You're gonna be
next to my husband. I have a place next to my husband.
I'm not going next to my wife.
So where are you?
in the ocean, even though I'm a Pisces and I don't know how
No,
to
you're
swim.
not gonna be cremated.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Don't tell me what to do in my life.
You see, that I could not, I cannot imagine.
Then are you going to stop talking to me, or you want to try my soup? Here, try my soup. Maybe you'll change your mind. Yes, absolutely. You know what I said to Rabbi Hayer once? We were talking about that. I say, he said, I said, I'm going to be cremated. He said, you cannot do that. I say, what about my parents? And that cut him down. I'm going to be cremated, and then the fish going to eat me. The guy said, what wonderful French food. Yum, yum. Little I know I have Polish blood in me.
This is a program about they call it Jewish culture and Holocaust remembrance, and it's about.
So, okay. I want to share with you the woman in that film, and let me just do something really quickly. Wait 1 second. Okay, so you're all back with us. The woman in the film, you may know her. She is Renee Firestone. What's unique about Renee, she's a Holocaust survivor. She's 99 years old. She knew my mother. They both lived in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And it was quite surprising when I found this film and Renee was on it. And I know my mother and her were friendly. She eventually founded a fashion business and moved to Los Angeles. And so we were seeing some clips of Renee Firestone because it's enjoyable. Of my memories of my mom talking about Renee was as I was growing up, and then there's a few more. I'm going to take a quick break, and I want to try to get Linda Hooper's program so we can benefit from that. So just give me 2 seconds, and I'll see if I can figure this out. So I'll be right back.
Came, and she had the same stereotype lost here because we think it would do.
Okay, so give me a second. Here we go.
About, I'd say 92% of our people are white, Protestant, evangelical Protestant. Within a mile of this school, there are 12 churches. So that sort of could give you some idea about how evangelical we are here. As I became principal of Whitwell Middle School and just started looking around and thinking about how vast the world is, we live in the Sequatchie Valley, which is surrounded by 2 mountain ranges, and it's about 120 miles long. It's pretty well isolated. We have students here who, when I first became the principal, had never been outside the valley. I suspect there are still students like that here. Our median income is very low. We, about 77% of our students qualify for free and reduced lunches. So, you know, that kind of gives you an idea of who we are. So in 1998, I just started taking a look at our demographics and thinking, these kids are going to live in a much larger world. There was no Facebook, no Instagram, no Twitter to connect them to anything. Thank goodness, because I think they were missed out a lot. So I just started looking and thinking and talking to our school improvement council and saying, you know, what do you think we can do? What do we need to do? And we all agreed that our children need to be exposed to more diversity. Understand that, you know, not everybody lived in a white community that was small enough that they were cared about. I guarantee you, if you were a kid here during that time and you did something ungodly, somebody would have reported it to your family or your teachers or, you know, some adult before the day was over, and it would have been dealt with in one way or the other. So I started looking around and I found this group called the I Earn Foundation, and they connected high school students with online to study different topics. And I noticed there was a topic about the Holocaust, and that summer they were bringing that topic to Chattanooga, Tennessee. I also knew that if high school students could do it, my 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade students could do the same thing. They could study. They were sharp enough to take part in that. So I asked David Smith, who was the assistant principal, to go to this study group that was happening in Chattanooga. And he came back with the materials. We went to our school improvement council, that's parents, teachers, community members, everybody, and said, we are considering a study of the Holocaust here because we think it would do what we want it to do. Number one, it would introduce us to a diverse culture, because I have my doubts that anybody in Whitwell, Tennessee knew a lot about Jewish people or their culture at that time. Number two, it would show how your just small actions snowball into really big actions and how little it takes to influence people. Number three, we had hopes that it would stop some instances of bullying, make people's kids stop and think, and teachers stop and think about the things they say and the things they do. So I went to Sandra Roberts, who taught 8th grade social studies, and I said, I have the best idea. Now, you ought to run, anybody ought to run, number one, if a principal says that, and number one, number two, if that principal happens to be me, get your skates on and get the hell out of there. So I said to Sandra Roberts, I'd like for us to start an after-school study about the Holocaust, and kids would have to sign up voluntarily. You won't get paid, and some adult from their family or some adult that they know will have to agree to come with them the first year. And the reason I added that last caveat is because I did not want this super evangelical community to decide that I was promoting a Jewish conversion experience here, okay? So I also said, now I'll give you comp time and other things if you will do this, and we'll see where it goes. So that year we had, I think, about 30 kids. I don't remember exact numbers. I've been kind of in the hospital the last week, and I don't have the clearest brain. You know, once you've had anesthesia, your brain never works again. So we started with these parents. And as we studied, it was a revelation to everybody. One child in the group came from a Jehovah's Witness family, and her family did not realize that Jehovah's Witnesses were one of the groups that was targeted by the Nazis. So it was a wonderful experience. Our school improvement council got behind it 100%. The parents who came and the children were just 100% behind it. We decided we would do it again the next year, but we would not make an adult come. They could come if they wished, but they would not be required to come. So along about the middle of that next year, one of the students came into my office and said, Miss Hooper, I just don't get 6 million. I can't comprehend 6 million. And I could understand that because at that time the population of Tennessee was 6.2 million. So you're trying to comprehend something that would wipe out everybody in your whole state. She said, can we collect something that will help us to grasp this quantity, this number of people? And I said, you have my permission if, number one, it has to relate to the Holocaust. And number two, it can't just be some junky Coke caps, something like that, you know, you have to. And number three, I have to see the letter. She said, oh, I already have a letter ready. And I said, well, when you get what you're going to collect into that letter, because she had a very good letter, come back. Within a couple of days, she was back and she said, Miss Hooper, we're going to collect paper clips. Now, what would be your first thought? Paper clips are probably the most common thing you ever think about. You know, I see them now all the time. The other day, I was walking in the parking lot of the hospital and there lay a paper clip by my car. And I said, give me the reason. She said, Miss Hooper, and I love it when kids act like you don't have a brain in the world, because I didn't have a clue why paper clips, and she knew it. And she was going to play her trump card. She said, do you not know that Joseph Baylor, a Norwegian gentleman, is credited with the invention of the paper clips, and that during World War II, Norwegians wore them on their lapels as a symbol of resistance to the Nazis? And of course, I did not know that. So she had her fresh letter ready. We made a list of people we're going to send them out to. We sent them out to all our congressional people, our state officials, any famous person they could think of. And we began to get replies. Now, some of them were really interesting. And I'm going to start with the, we can't send you a paper clip first. From many major league sports teams, we got letters that say, we appreciate your efforts, but we are unable to send you a paper clip. Now that really kind of got my, as we say in the South, drawers in a wad, because somebody has taken the time to write a letter, stick it in an envelope, address it, put a stamp in it. You know they had a paper clip laying there. Why didn't they just stick it in an envelope? We got a similar letter from Senator Al Gore's office at that time. Now, I'm a dedicated Democrat, guys, and if that insults you, I don't really care. But anyway, just a little while after that, I was at a gathering of Democrats, and his state chairman came. People were talking about paper clips, and the state chairman came over to me, of Senator Gore's, and said, oh, I'm sure you have a paper clip from Senator Gore. And I said, oh, I'm sure we don't, because his office said they were unable to send one. Would you like to see the letter? And he said, no, thank you. Within a week, Senator Gore paid us a visit and brought several paper clips, okay? But the clips that mean the most to us are clips that came from survivors and survivors' families and told their stories. We have collected, our original goal was to collect 6 million, one for every name that the Nazis recorded when and they were very meticulous about recording the names of victims. They recorded their name, how they murdered them, when they murdered them, and how they disposed of the body. All the facts they had about the survivors, they recorded for 6 million people that were Jewish and 5 million other people that were not Jewish. People who just stood up and said, what you're doing is wrong, or who worked in the underground to try to stop what was going on. Those stories are contained, and Emily will take in a second, she will take the iPad over and show you those letters that we have filed. We have over 30,000 of those letters. We stopped counting paper clips when we reached 30 million. We still receive them, and we still treat them with great care. Several of them we sent out across the country to schools that requested to start their own small collections, or to start their own stories, or to talk about when they showed the movie. And we sent out about 30,000, 40,000 paper clips that way. We have a butterfly dish in our office here at the school where you can take a paper clip as you leave if you wish to, and we have people who do that all the time. So people always want to know how the movie came to be and how the car got here. Well, I'm going to tell you the bottom line of it all is we have never been in charge of this project. God's hand has been on it from the beginning, whether we want to admit it or not, because you can't tell me that a community like this with no resources out in the middle of nowhere could have a project like this if not. So at any rate, we registered our project with the National Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. And Lena Geter, who was a 90-plus-year-old survivor at that time, saw the registration. She called up her friends, Peter and Dagmar Schroeder, who were correspondents for a Washington newspaper. And she simply said, and I love this because I can just see her saying it. It sounds like something I might say if I had known Peter and Dagmar Schroeder. She said, you are going to Whitwell, Tennessee, and you are going to write about these children and their project, and you are going to ensure that they get 6 million paper clips. Well, they did exactly what she said. They came to Whitwell, Tennessee. They then called their friend Dita Smith, who worked for the Washington Post. And they said to Dita Smith, you need to go and you need to write about this because the Washington Post gets read more than anything we would ever write. So she did. She came and she had the same stereotypes that Peter and Dagmar had, that we were, you know, a bunch of redneck, Southern, whatever people think of us stereotypically. She was very surprised. She went back, she wrote her article. When the article came out, Rachel Pinchot was having her morning tea and she started reading the article. She immediately called up her husband, Ari, and she said, Ari, your company, the Johnson Group, has to make a documentary about these students. Get to Tennessee, get the signatures on the line and make the documentary. So he started calling. Now, we've not been portrayed really nicely in the press in the past. We're a former coal mining community and we had, you know, the kind of publicity that goes with a coal mining community. And I wasn't the least bit thrilled about having a documentary made. Number one, I figured they would paint us again as a redneck coal mining community. But number two, and probably just as important and maybe more important, I did not want the motive for the project, the object, the goal of the project to be lost in anybody's ego because, ooh, I got to be in a movie, you know, I made a national screen somewhere. The whole object of this project, I think, is summed up in a poem, and you can look it up, by Gertrude Hildreth Hausman, called The Gift of Choice. But it emphasizes the fact that each of us every day makes choices. Do we respect people? No matter, I don't have to like you. Nothing in my Bible, nothing in my teaching tells me I have.
Sorry, I'm going to work on this in a minute. Just give me a chance to fix this.
bring it to the Port of Baltimore, convinced CSX Railroad to transport it to Whitwell. And by the way, or rather to Chattanooga, by the way, it was in transit, as you saw in the movie on 9/11. So when it got to Chattanooga, B&B Trucking.
Campus that will be not threatening, because we have a campus of, at that time, it was kindergarten through 12th grade. Now it's preschool through 12th grade. We want the kids to remember what happened, but we also want them to have hope that if we treat each other with respect and kindness, that something like this won't happen again to anyone. And the board approved my request. And from there, I remembered a poem that I read about a young man who was in a ghetto and mentioned that he had never seen a butterfly there. That butterfly was the last one. So it's in a book of poetry and artwork by children in Terezin concentration camp. And I thought about a butterfly representing hope and freedom and the fragility of life, and that would be a perfect symbol for any kind of memorial that we would create on our campus. And that's when I approached Cheryl Ratner Price, as parent and artist. She had done some beautiful, beautiful artwork on our campus. And I approached her about my goal of wanting 1.5 million butterflies, one for each child that was murdered in the Holocaust, to be on our campus, representative on our campus. And if you see the movie that Cheryl made called Not the Last Butterfly, you would see that my first, I guess, thinking about what the butterfly should look like, I wanted all the butterflies to be on our campus. And I had created one out of wire with my calcium pill in the middle, thinking that, we have to do this, obviously 1.5 million with the school budget. How's that going to be something that we can have? And Cheryl basically was very kind and didn't laugh, just said we can't do it this way, and came up with the idea of having ceramic butterflies, something that would be long lasting and beautiful. And as the project developed, which we'll talk about later, she convinced me that the butterflies needed to be at the places where people were making them, and not all of them coming back to the Jewish Academy. So that's in a nutshell how.
Oh, that's great. So before you answer, Cheryl, Linda, I know that you're you're under the weather. So if you feel that you have to leave and take your leave, it's perfectly fine with us. We all understand. I do want to give Saul the opportunity, if in fact you choose to want to go, Saul, maybe you can unmute yourself and you wanted to say something to Linda, and also explain to the group what the background of the story is.
Linda, it's a privilege to have the ability to speak to you and to thank you for all you've done. I was part of those letters that came from when my mom and dad were alive, because I'm a second generation survivor. Both my parents were victims of the Holocaust, and I actually wrote a book from Bergen-Belsen to Brooklyn. And it gave me the opportunity to send the book to you to have for your library. And with your permission, Linda, I'd like to read the thank you that you sent me, because it was so heartwarming and so inspirational to me. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. And it says, Dear Dr. Pincheski, no words can adequately express my gratitude to you for donating your book From Bergen-Belsen to Brooklyn to our library. It was an honor and an inspiration to read about the strong women in your family. Their dedication, positive attitude, and love of family warmed my spirit over. Once I started reading, I could not put the book down. Grateful thanks, Linda. And she sent it on on the stationery, which she mentioned earlier, from Gertrude Hausman, with the wonderful expression about inspiration from people. And I just thank you. And I also wanted to tell you that I was very upset that you were hospitalized, and Jeff told me about it. And when I was at services yesterday, interesting that you have a Torah there. On Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, we read from the Torah. And part of the opening of the Torah, we have a prayer that we say for those that aren't well. So since I knew yesterday that you were ill, we said what's called a Misha Berach, which is actually hoping for your quick and speedy recovery. And I'm glad to see you today, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. That means a great deal. My husband and I, for the past, since March, have had, I told him we spent more time with the doctors than each other. Please pray for my husband too. He has developed something called acquired hemophilia A. We did get good news yesterday that he is in remission. So we're hopeful he can stay in remission. But
We all hope that for him as well.
Right.
And obviously, Linda, I am so grateful that you're such a hero to be able to come out of the hospital yesterday and to join us today. That is unbelievable. So as they say, the show must go on, but you've taken the show to a much higher level.
no, as my husband says, I was born uber responsible. It's just, I was in the hospital telling them, you're going to have to go get my iPad because I have this thing coming up on Friday. And my daughter-in-law saying that isn't going to happen. But you don't know what hard-headed old women can do. So is there anything else in this room you'd like to see before I
don't know if Emily is out is she out or she's here?
Yes, I'm out at the car now.
Go ahead. So Emily,
Can I just ask Linda for her husband's name, so when we do our prayers, I can ask for a prayer for him as well?
Yes, what is it?
what's her husband's name, Linda?
Your husband's name?
My husband is Edward.
Edward Hooper?
Edward Hooper, yes.
All
Okay,
right. Very good, thank you. And Emily, are you going to show us the outside?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm on an iPhone, so if you need me to adjust the camera,
Okay, good. We can see you now. Go ahead.
All right, so I'm outside the car now. This is the entranceway. I have a bit of a knee injury, so if I'm a little wobbly, it's because I have a little bit of a limp. But I'm going to go on the side now, so you can see we have paper clips on both sides enclosed in glass. I'll start on one side and then I can move on to the other side so you can see. You can see, of course, all of the paper clips. It is completely full all the way down to the bottom within the case. On this side, we have a suitcase with luggage tags, which carry on each of the luggage tags in the suitcase. There is apologies to Anne Frank from students in Germany that were sent to us to display in the car. There are also some, here I can open the case here so you can see a little better. You can also see some laying on top of the here. I'm just going to put the camera in here so you can see a little bit better. This is one side. All right, and I'm moving to the other side now. Switch. Yeah, leave on one. Leave on both.
So one of you is having feedback, so one of
Yeah,
them.
I had to, she brought the iPad outside, so I had
Okay.
the phone so it wouldn't echo. And I'm going to open the case so you can see a little better through the glass here. It is on the opposite side of the car with different artifacts. We have.
So Emily and Linda, many of the audience, including my parents or my mother, traveled in one of these cattle cars. And when I first saw this cattle car, I thought of my mother traveling from Košice, Czechoslovakia, with her family to Auschwitz. And I know that many of the people who are with us also had family who were deported, and many of them perished, most perished, some of them survived. And it is absolutely chilling to be in this car with you, and for our audience to be able to firsthand get a glimpse of a cattle car, which for me is the first time in my life that I have been able to see this.
Right.
So we're thanking you so much for your ability to give us this touch, even though it's virtual. It is most appreciated. But go ahead if you want to tell us anything about the car.
If you have any questions, I can try to answer those. We have, I don't know if you can see through the glass, it's a little hard to reach there. We have some binders open to some different letters within the case here. There's some different.
Okay, and so we're back live, and I was able to luckily be able to pull this program from my library of over 130 programs. So I apologize that Linda couldn't be with us personally, but I was able to bring her virtually through a recording, which is pretty much what she would have done today. So that leaves us with an amazing opportunity to discuss what you've seen today. So I'm going to open up the chat, and we're close to the end of the program. And if there's anybody who would like to comment, please raise your hand and let me know. So, okay. Well, it doesn't look like there's comments. I think this is this program leaves you kind of like breathless. And I hope that you benefited from seeing what Jeffrey Demsky had to share with us. And Yifat from Israel is over there. So hi, Yifat. And I wanted to let you know to look for an email from me. I saw your father's book and discussion in a film, which was totally blew my mind. So I just sent you the email over the weekend. So check it out. And
yeah, I've seen it. And hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. I didn't have time to respond. I just thought that the lady who's it's about her, she lives in the States now, and I think her life project is quite interesting, perhaps one day in one of your programs.
yeah, well, thank you. And will you remind me of the name of the film? It's in that email, so you can let everyone know. I'm trying to remember.
A Day in a Lifetime, I think.
Day in the Life. Day in the Life. It's on.
Day in the Life.
It's on Hive Films. I don't know if you're familiar with CHAI Flix.com. It's a paid Jewish movie service, which I'm a member of. And they have literally, if you want to go to every film festival, Jewish film festival in the world, you can go to Hive Flix and never have enough Jewish content. But there was an amazing movie that I shared with Yifat, is the daughter of Thomas Jeeves, and Thomas Jeeves wrote an amazing book called The Boy Who Drew Auschwitz. And just so coincidentally, Yifat presented this book to our group somewhere, I think in 2021 or 2022, I don't recall. And while I was watching this film, all of a sudden, the school teacher brought this book to her students. So again, it's a very, very small world. And I see Tibor and Devora and Joan and Eva. I'm glad you stayed with us, Eva. So I see that the program maybe caught your attention and you wanted to hang out. And there's Judith and all my friends and Ruth. Nice to see you. And I noticed on the RSVP list, there were 2 other Lindemans, but I didn't know if they were able to come. I think your 2 daughters were scheduled to come.
Yes, yes.
All right, just so you know, the recording will be available tomorrow. And I also want to let you know the recording with Tibor's presentation is now streaming live, and it's being advertised by me in our newsletter if you're interested. And I hope that you come on to jchr.com and see the Jewish content that I'm curating around the world every day. So it's another one of my projects. Hello, Mark. Nice to see you as well. And so I think we'll call this a day, and we'll see you next month. Next month.
Thank you, Jeffrey. It was very interesting as usual.
Okay, let me tell
Appreciate
you
it.
quickly something. Hold on. Our program is on June 25th, and it's called Rays of Hope. And in presenting will be Jennifer Steele, Keith Newhouse, the son of Mark Newhouse, and Blima Lorba from, and Jennifer's coming in from the UK, and Blima's coming in from Brazil. We'll be presenting some really interesting topics. I'll be starting to advertise this in detail. So we'll see you in June. Take care, everyone. Love you. Bye now.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey. It was
Bye-bye.
amazing.